Someone wrote to the ethics columnist at the New York Times to ask, should I retire if my fellow federal employees are facing layoffs? They say they love their job, but wouldn't have to face any negative consequences from leaving. So would it be unethical not to retire in these circumstances?
I don't know about ethical or unethical. I'm thinking it depends on my situation, my personal financial situation. Am I taking care of an elderly parent? Do I have adult children who I need to help? What's my debt? Is my mortgage paid off? That's what's gonna come into play. Because if I'm financially set, I would go in and be like, you know what? I'm near retirement anyway. Give me the package. I already know I'm gonna book that cruise, the one that goes around the world for 2 months, and I'm gone. But it really comes down to what's happening in my situation. But I wouldn't want a younger person who's there going, well, you're old, so you should leave. It's like, you don't know what's happening in my house and my finances.
I totally agree with you, but let's just assume that you have everything paid off.
I'm
and you
gone.
actually, oh, no, sorry. So then it goes back
I need to jump on the
It goes back to that.
yeah.
That's where the ethical question comes into play, right? Like,
Yeah.
if somebody is all paid off, at what age is it sort of, like, if this situation presents itself, I think that there is a kind of ethics piece to this.
I think there is, but if that's, you know, there's the money part of it. There's not a guarantee that necessarily if you leave, that means those other jobs are gonna get saved. If a company's gonna cut, they're gonna cut. I also think that a job is much more about money. We know that the older people get, I think people are forgetting that comes with age and wisdom and experience. And a job is sometimes, that's your purpose for a lot of people. If you really like your job, you're not just there because it's a paycheck. You're there because there's a socializing that happens. You feel like you're giving back to community. There's a reason to wake up in the morning. And so you don't want to take that away from someone if it's just because about money. I think
but you're
else,
giving it to somebody, in a way, again, if it was set up like this, if I'm in the situation where I'm at a certain age and I know that I've got my debts paid off, and again, this is a very privileged position, but we've known people actually in this company who've been presented with this, and they say, would you like to take a package? Maybe you're 3 or 4 years away from retirement anyway. And a lot of them have done that ethical choice for the very specific reason of, like, I know there are people coming up behind who are starting families or at the beginning of their life, and I want to ensure that they get that opportunity. And I think I would definitely do the same thing.
You would? For that reason?
For that reason alone, yes. I mean, for many other reasons, actually, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Right?
That cruise.
You're going to be on that cruise going around the world for 2 months. That's why. I also know people who've done that, who've come back and they're like, I'll take the package and then I'll come back part-time.
Oh,
and
that's
come back and
interesting.
do a couple days a week. And that could be a nice way, a nice little midway.
Yeah.
I think for me what's interesting is that corporations are known for treating people like numbers. And so now all of a sudden, individuals are supposed to act with a heart. You know what I mean? Like, if we haven't been treated like a human being, why are we then supposed to keep other people in mind? Right? Like, and I do think, you know, I think about how many Canadians, you know, it's a tough time to afford life right now. And I think of how many Canadians in different industries might be in this position. And I do think the financial component here is worth noting because it is a different situation, as you pointed out, depending on your finances. And there was some interesting data out of TMU that said only 34% of the population in Canada believe they can afford to retire when they want. 19% have zero retirement savings, and 1 in 4 have less than $5,000 saved. So for some people, if it's 2 years more work, that's 2 years more work they want to work. That's money in the bank. So I think that's part of this convo too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.